now live in Southfield, so it's a bit closer than before. We were in North London, so it'd take us like maybe 2.5 hours to get here. And in that time, my panic would just amplify. You know, the longer you have to like travel as you're going across the bridge and looking over and seeing the sun, it's kind of like, come on, I want to get there, because otherwise, you know, I have too much time to think about kind of the audience. And also here, like, the atmosphere is very like different to the other regions in terms of like the building. It has, I guess it used to be a monastery, right? Or something to that effect. A nunnery. So like, it does feel that way. Like, sometimes I feel like a bit unworthy, and up here, and everyone's kind of, I don't know, I just feel a bit like, there's a certain, it's amplified somehow when I come here. So, and also I'm probably half most people's age, so I sometimes feel a bit like, really, do they want to hear from me? Like, you know, like they've lived like longer than I have and have a lot. I mean, I feel I have a lot to learn, so sometimes I wonder what I can say or share. So take it with a pinch of salt, and hopefully I can inspire you in some way. I don't know. So yeah, the sermon is I Shall Overcome, and it's kind of inspired by my life at present, and that it's kind of a transitional period in which people are having babies and getting married legally, and you know, there's just lots of things happening. And so I'm at a point where I turned 29 in October, and yeah, I just feel old. I feel like my relationship's also changing. Like, you know, I'm kind of missing like teenage friendships and like, you know, running around Cleeve House. I used to live in Cleeve House, you know, with my friends and just like having no care. And now it's at a point where relationships are kind of morphing, not necessarily in a bad way, but they're changing, and like people are changing, and I'm kind of like clinging onto those relationships somehow, or how they used to be, and it's a bit sad. And also, I'm also building up a lot of resentment as well, like towards certain people, because in amongst the good memories, it's also peppered with like bad things that have happened, or just comments people have said to me, or things I haven't quite let go of. And it's almost like when you collect a fridge magnet when you go on holiday. I feel like I've collected like bits of resentment and kind of stuck them to myself, and I'm still kind of carrying it. Or I don't know if you've seen Labyrinth with David Bowie. Have you guys seen that film? Mm-hmm. There's a character in it, this old lady, she's got like things stuck to her back, like a chair, and like, she's like, please, and she's like sticking things to the main character, like, well, come on, have this, and you know, carry this, carry this. And sometimes I feel that way, like I'm carrying a lot of rubbish, and I just kind of want to be rid of it. And I've also been reading a book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. Does it sound relevant? I don't know. It's a really good book. And it's about kind of assessing your surroundings. So like, it's about cleaning. And I'm not a tidy person. I'm reformed. I'm trying to be. But it's about, the author's saying, she's a Japanese author, she's saying that you should look at your belongings and hold an item. And if it sparks joy, then you should keep it. And if it doesn't spark joy, you should get rid of it. Of course, a Hoover, I don't know how much that can spark joy. You might want to hang on to that in case you want to be like cleaning the floor with, I don't know, tape or something. But, you know, it really kind of like changed the way I saw my things and how I was kind of surrounded by things. Because I like things, I like to shop. I'm a reformed shopaholic. I really am. Like when I used to get let loose in Primark with £20, I'd buy, you know, a million things, you know. I was quite good at it. So, in that same way, I've been thinking about my life and about how I've got things inside of me that don't spark joy and that actually like really weigh me down. And so through this kind of cleaning process, you know, she says, don't listen to music, don't do anything else while you're cleaning. And it's quite therapeutic, you know, even with things like photos, how many do you keep, how many do you discard? So it was really interesting. And that's kind of like what's inspired this talk, which is kind of to do with resentment and kind of ill feeling and that kind of thing. So yeah, I'm trying to kind of cull not cull my feelings, but just kind of like irrigate and kind of hang on to the things that I want to keep, but also let go of things, because I do find it hard to let go. But for me, in order to do that, I had to realize that hurt is real. And that, you know, if someone says to you, like, yeah, but you shouldn't feel that way, it's just like, what are you talking about? I'm going to feel, you know, I feel this way, that's the way it is, I feel this way. And I feel like until you can accept that you feel something, then it's hard to move on. Yeah, I mean, I think I touched on this before, but I went through quite severe depression when I was like in my late teens, early 20s. And it was until I accepted that I felt a certain way that I could kind of like get better or like work towards healing somehow. Because, you know, the point is like, said person did hurt you, you know, this did happen, that did happen, and so if you don't feel any hurt whatsoever, then you're kind of a robot. I mean, there are people who are completely infallible, maybe, but most people feel hurt at some point by someone, something, or some situation. So yeah, hurt is real. And just to amplify that, a few kind of like quotes about pain. There is just so much hurt, disappointment, and oppression one can take by Rosa Parks. And by Maya Angelou, history, despite its wrenching pain, cannot be outlived. And again, if we want to kind of get even more depressed, if I believe, I am deceived. If I love, I am betrayed. Suffering and grieving tonight, my head in my hands, am I wrong? So yeah, there's just a lot of pain. We do feel it. It's real, right? It just is, you know. And some people really suffer. And like when I put my life in perspective, I wonder sometimes, like, anyway, when you put it in perspective, I really think about my life more. I know people have really suffered, and it's important to acknowledge that and to understand that, not just within ourselves, but within other people as well, I think. And so, yeah, like I realized that I didn't realize this, but I was thinking about it, and that with resentment, I've kind of categorized it in my head, and that I feel resentment towards others, towards situations, towards God, and towards myself, actually. And that, you know, like I often regret that I didn't, I got into quite a good uni and I didn't go, I went to STF and I regretted that. And then, you know, I regretted not getting a good enough grade in my university. Like, there's a lot of regret that I feel, resentment towards myself for not having done things or not achieved certain things. And I realised that when I feel that, I'm more likely to resent other people as well. Like, if they're successful, my friend of mine just bought a house, and I'm so jealous. You know, the things like this, you know, that it's easier to resent if you feel a sense of insecurity or you resent yourself in some way. And the people who I know who are kind of most confident and kind of don't feel the need to kind of gossip or kind of judge others are genuinely like quite self-assured and quite confident in who they are. And so, yeah, so I was thinking that, you know, resenting others and resenting myself are really, really interlinked. And that when I was feeling the most insecure, that's when I was judging others the most. So I have the first video. Very short. This is Tony Robbins being interviewed. He's kind of like motivational speaker that myself and Danny have been watching quite a lot.
How do you let go of anger and resentment? I have so much anger toward my ex that I can't shake, and I think it's unhealthy for me. This is a big question.
It's hugely unhealthy. You're absolutely right. Your instincts are right. The fact that you're looking for the answer means you'll find it and you will follow through. The question is, will you do it now or you wait a while and keep suffering? I think it was Nelson Mandela said, resentment is like, you know, drinking poison and expecting your enemy to die. It's like, you know, it just doesn't work that way.
That's great.
And when people say, I need to forgive you have to have a belief system that you're better than somebody else, that somebody harmed you. Most people are doing the best they can. Human beings need to feel significant, they need to feel certain, and out of feeling insignificant and uncertain, they sometimes do stupid things. You know, it takes two to tango. Somebody once said, I think Spinoza said, no matter how thin you slice it, there's always two sides. And even in my own experience, when a relationship doesn't work, it isn't that they're horrible. This person may have done something that hurt you, but they didn't do it to hurt you. They did it because they felt insecure. They did it because they were starving for love. They did it because they didn't feel like they were important enough to you. They did it for a variety of reasons. You don't have to know, but you need to move on. And instead of forgiving is like you're better than, just think about this, forgive yourself for being so caught up in this, because the anger is hurting you, it's not hurting them.
That's good.
So, and leading on from that, of course, pain is real, but I realized I was becoming trapped somehow by my feelings of resentment and how I've become like this. Like sometimes I enjoy feeling annoyed. I don't know if anyone relates with that. It's enjoyable because it's like an excuse to like, I don't know, to like be annoyed. And it's like, if you live in an English house and either you don't want to pay for heating or the heating doesn't work, and it's like forcing yourself to get out the blanket, do you know what I mean? Like changing is really difficult. It's like when you're under the blanket, it's like, oh, I mean, I can see your breath. Like, And yeah, that's what it was like in Grove Park, actually. It was pretty cold, wasn't it? So, but actually, like, it's like a guise, because like it feels comforting. It's like when we're like depressed, or like when we're feeling something like this, it's kind of a bit self-indulgent. Over time it becomes that way anyway for me. Like, I know I felt like comforted by it almost, and it gave me a reason to gossip, and it gave me a reason to like be bitter. Yeah, and it also gave me a reason to justify it. Like, it was like this justification that, well, they've done this, therefore I'm allowed to feel this way, and this has happened, therefore I can feel this way. So it's kind of like wrapping myself up and not wanting to get out, you know, like not wanting to step out. But actually, like, you know, I'm quite lazy. That's why I can liken it to getting out in the morning, because like getting out of bed is so tough, especially when it's so comfy. We just got a new mattress after a really long time, so it's really, really comfortable. But yeah, like I realised that I was being trapped by the comfy duvet, and I wasn't wanting to change, or I didn't want to change, but I wasn't willing to make the effort to kind of change. Yeah, so this next quote is by Cornfield. He's like this Buddhist American teacher. The knowledge of the past stays with us. To let go is to release the images and emotions, the grudges and fears, the clingings and disappointments of the past that bind our spirit. And I really kind of related to this kind of being bound by something, because it's like really a trap. Like, also, like I have other friends who also, you know, can be quite bitter, and like it's really hard for them to be like successful. I mean, some of them have, you know, affluent, but it's like something you can kind of feel, and I do feel like there's this block somehow, or this kind of bitter feeling, and like, you know, I really relate to that, being kind of tied up, or being caught up, or being trapped somehow. Do you have hatred and resentment toward other people? This is like Satan entangling our minds in steel nets to prevent us from going toward the original Garden of Eden. Yeah, I feel as though like God knows me really well, but Satan also knows me really well, and that he knows how to like discourage me, or make me feel insecure, and that's when I feel like guilt, or when I feel resentful somehow. It really is a block for me, and then I start to self-doubt, when actually like we're all really capable people, but it's so easy for seeds of doubt to like get in there when we start to kind of allow Satan's influence somehow. Do you know what I mean? Satan's influence. I mean, just yeah, like I feel like he knows that, and he's like, okay, I know she's insecure, so I'm gonna make her feel this way, and then she won't want to do that, because if I feel a certain way, I don't want to do anything. You know, it's like this complete block, like of insecurity. So yeah, I was becoming more and more, and I mean, I still struggle with it, of course. Like, I'm not over resentment; it sort of haunts me quite a lot. But yeah, I don't like the feeling of it. Like, I don't like that feeling of talking to somebody and feeling angry at them deep inside, but pretending that I'm fine. You know, and I was thinking, like, if I'm not going to say anything, you know, if I can smile at their face and still be annoyed, and if it was some small comment that happened like 5 years ago, like what is this about, basically? Sort of trying to analyse it and gauge what I was feeling, because it almost merges together, and the longer you feel it, and then someone asks you, what do you feel? You almost don't know. It's like, I don't know anymore. Like, it's just kind of escalated and grown into something else. At the centre of the prison, where resentments were running around, I discovered that it was nothing but love that would enable me to welcome God there. I often, in the HARP talks I give, talk about, I try to like get them to think about their day, the HARP members, like, okay, so at what point in the day does God have to say, like, I love you, Ruth, but, you know, when you're saying these things, it's really hard for me to be around you. Like, I find it really difficult. Like, I'm just going to step aside, I'm going to be outside the door, and then I'll come back in when you're, you know, when I can feel comfortable around you again. Like, I really kind of see it that way. Like, when I'm feeling kind of anger, like, I feel furthest from God, and then because of the anger, I feel guilt, and I can't talk to God. So it's like this repetitive cycle, and actually, like, until you, like, surrender somehow, or, like, push yourself to pray, however hard it is, like, it's really hard sometimes, even if it's 5 minutes. It's so easy to watch a 10-minute YouTube video, but really hard to pray for, like, 3 minutes, right? But yeah, so God, I really feel like God wants to be around us, but, like, we have to make that space open, or at least open the door. It's like, when I was going through my teenage phase, which I still sometimes do go through now. But my dad would say, like, Ruth, you're really intimidating. Like, the door's open and I want to come in, but like because you're angry and because you're so like bitter towards me, I can't even enter the room. So I want to be there, and I'm here if you need me, but I can't right now because you're so you're feeling this way towards me, and I feel this animosity. So yeah, like, and I think it really, depends on how we see ourselves as well. So like, I think a lot of ourselves see ourselves as being like pretty worthless sometimes. I mean, I'm sure maybe some of you are really, really self-confident, I don't know, but I'm sure we all have some kind of insecurity. But I think until we kind of see kind of like this inner, I think it's really funny, this inner like I am a lion, I don't know. Yeah, until we kind of want to see this inner strength in ourselves, I think it's really hard to kind of see ourselves as God sees us too, because I think if we judged other people the way we judge ourselves, or then we'd be quite shocked actually, kind of all this negative self-talk and kind of this kind of these negative thoughts that swirl around. So I was thinking about healing and understanding, because that's what we all want, right? For me, when I become hurt by someone, it kind of immediately comes out as anger. Like it's like this cover-up. So if I feel hurt, then I get really angry, like flame inside. I'm sure you guys know that feeling of just fire. Like I will annihilate you. But and sometimes when I think about back in the day when I was like an Asian in Wiltshire, hiding in the shadows of the school, like I'm like, why did that kid say that to me? You know what I mean? It's really like there's a lot of bitterness actually that's kind of like been stacked, like a stack of books, But yeah, I mean, I guess it's really difficult, isn't it, when someone does something wrong to you, to think like, well, actually, maybe they're going through something. It's really difficult to think that way when they're the ones kind of like spitting the kind of vile words or like the hurt. But like in that video when he says like, no matter how thin you slice it, there's always two sides. And like I remember when I found out that one of these girls who was bullying me, like she was from a really, really, really rough background. Like, I mean, I won't go into it, but like really awful. And I used to like wonder, like, why did she target me? Like, why? I'm sure if anyone's been bullied, you think like, why? Like, what have I done? But yeah, it was only through that heart of understanding that I could kind of like work on working through those things. And because at the same time, as much as I'm angry, I'd like to think that I have empathy too. So I think if you can kind of try and touch on empathy and really think about that person and why they said that thing. Also, like in the video, you were saying like people do stupid things. Like I say stupid things all the time. Out of insecurity, I'll say something or laugh at someone's joke, and it wasn't really funny. But did I laugh at them? And then they'll get, it's like such a game almost, like life. And I like to think that all those stupid things I've said or done aren't being marked down. You know what I mean? Because you just say them, right? I mean, I'm quite insecure anyway, especially in like new settings with new people. And I'm like, oh, why did I say that? Dang it, like. So I'm trying to like have that mentality of like, if someone says something to me, like, should I just let it go? Like, should it just be gone? I don't know. So I've been really kind of, anyway, these are just my thoughts. This is like a sermon diary, so sorry if it's not making any sense. Okay, this is good as well. So there is some good in the worst of us and some evil in the best of us. When we discover this, we are less prone to hate our enemies. Yeah, I think I used that last sermon as well. This is by Marianne Williamson. She's a motivation speaker I use a lot in my heart talks. No matter what happens to you, you have a choice as to how to interpret it. You will make that choice consciously or subconsciously. You can focus on the body's drama, your friend's hurtful words, her mistake, her betrayal. But if you do, you won't be able to escape the emotional experience of being at the effect of her words. By choosing to focus on the material drama, particularly the drama of guilt, you increase your attachment to the material plane and thus your vulnerability to its dysfunctions. Your alternative choice is to focus on the innocence in your friend and her divine reality that is beyond and truer than her bodily self. All of us are made of love, but all of us make mistakes. In detaching from an overemphasis on someone else's mistakes, you detach from an overemphasis on your own. As you reach across the wall of separateness, and there is no wall thicker than the wall of judgment, then the wall comes down. yeah, right now I'm really upset with one of my friends, actually. And this quote really kind of like, kind of pushes you to have some perspective, even though you kind of don't want it. But yeah, I think it's been a build-up. I've been friends with her for a long, since we were like maybe 2 years old or something. And yeah, I think I was quite scared of her for a long time because she was quite like up and down and emotional, and I am too. But yeah, like we would fight a lot when we were like 8 or 9, and over the years, we got closer, but we're very different. And our only real connecting thing was that we were both in the church, really. And I felt a loyalty to her. But then I didn't really address anything, the things she'd said to me. And I was also still treating her as I used to when we were like teenagers. I don't know if you ever get into that habit of like expecting someone to behave a certain way because they have done for so long. And anyway, it's just been this long kind of feeling. And she doesn't really know how I feel, but I think she might do. And I'm kind of building myself up to talk to her. And it's like gauging, like, what do I need to say? What should I say? And how do I say it? Like, do I need to tell her everything she's done that's annoyed me? I don't think I do. I feel like I should only say things if it's going to help the relationship somehow. And I'm also at a point in which I'm deciding, like, who are my friends and who aren't? Like, and it's really a painful realization somehow. Because in many ways, Danny's not my best friend, right? It's like, most of my time is spent with Danny, and most of my friends spend their time with their significant others or their husbands. And so, then what happens to your friendships? And so, what I realized is that some friendships are going to kind of like, not come to an end, but you change, right? And sometimes, kind of that's it. But I'm quite determined, I always want to keep going. I'm like, no, we're going to be friends forever. Remember, we shared that necklace, best friends for life. We're going to do it, I'm really determined like that. Like, I remember like, we had like little necklaces, so we had half a heart each, BFFs, I don't know, it's somewhere. Or we even like held hands and then melted wax on our hands, like, we will be friends for life, So like in that way, I'm quite like committed to that kind of innocence and that kind of loyalty. So I'm determined to make it work. I'm just thinking about how I'm going to do this. And I realise my heart is the most important thing. Like if I give everything and still it's not quite there, we're kind of nice to each other, but we're not quite best friends, that's fine. But if I leave it with a bitter heart, like I just feel like I'll carry that with that for life, basically. So I'm at this point where I'm like, okay, what do I do? And I've kind of written an email, then deleted it, didn't have anyone, and then no, that's not quite right. So I'm currently at that process now, and yeah, it's an ongoing project. So that's kind of, I guess, also another inspiration for this talk. Without love, it is well nigh impossible to stifle the blame-assigning remark, to refrain from sowing the seeds of resentment. Being able to see the other person's point of view, to listen and really understand when opinions and interpretations differ, is almost impossibly difficult when love is absent. Yeah, I remember when I was, anyway, going through my rough patch, with somebody then talking about it. But this spiritualist lady, anyway, this kind of like counsellor was talking to me, and she was saying, like everybody was once a baby, right? And of course everyone knows that. But I think it's easy to forget that everyone has an innocent heart, actually. And I love kids, so that for me was a real help. Like if I just envision my enemy as a child, then it's somehow more digestible. Like a difficult child is easier than a difficult adult in some ways for me. So yeah, I feel like it's like because I'm kind of like involved with HARP at the moment. It's like a lot of them I've seen from when they're like 11 and really tiny, and now they're like going to STF or DAN and things like this, and it's really crazy. But for me, kind of, it's so painful when like you kind of, I'm sure as a parent, everyone you realise, when you recognise this, but like when they start to like question like things like, oh, like what does this swear word mean, or like what does this mean, and they start to kind of become a bit permeated by like the world somehow, because a lot of them are so young and sweet and like lovely, and like I had this policy like don't hug the guys because like I want to keep you straight, but like really, they're like toddlers, I'm like oh my god that's so cute. So it's like for me like I feel like a lot of us are kind of a product of like what we've been through in a way. and we've observed kind of other people's behaviour and how other people treat each other. So actually, in some ways, it's not our fault, but like people are a product, right? People are like honed and like grown somehow. And so like that's why I want to hark back to my friend when we were small, you know, how actually really insecure she was, how she couldn't sleep at night because she was so worried, you know, as 3 years old, she couldn't sleep. And, you know, kind of very troubled and somehow like anxiety, very anxious. And because of these insecurities, she obviously took it out on me. So yeah, that's kind of been helping me to kind of heal in some way. To heal a world where there is no hope and which is lacking in love, we need to go back to the pure hearts that we had as children and restore our beautiful essence as human beings. We need to go back to the principles of peace and the breath of love that we learned as we were being carried on our father's backs. I don't want to cry. Anyway, so I've got another video clip. The last one, I promise. This is an overcard.
That is aha! I always love those moments on the show where somebody said something that made us look at life in a completely new way.
Well, the little hairs on my head rose when you said that, so I know that was a bing, bing, aha moment. There are little bing, bing, bingers going on right now.
Yeah.
Bing, 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 bing. Anybody binging?
After 25 years and more than 30,000 guests, that's talking to a lot of people, it was one man's definition of forgiveness that changed my life.
Carol, you mentioned that the secret to really finding true happiness is forgiveness. What do you mean by that?
It really means letting go of the past. It really means letting go of our perception that we need to hold the grievance the rest of our lives. That if we really want to hold on to grievances, we'll never really be happy. It's really a willingness to see the person in the light of love rather than in the action that happened. So it's really changing the perception, and it really means letting go of the past that we thought we wanted. You know, we can't really change that past, so it means really releasing the negative perception of it and coming back to the present.
That was a transcendent moment for me. Bigger even than an aha.
He said, forgiveness is giving up the hope that the past could be any different.
I think for myself, and I know many of you, you think forgiving means accepting what has happened to you. Well, it is accepting that it has happened to you. Not accepting that it was okay for it to happen. It is accepting that it has happened, and now what do I do about it? Forgiving is giving up the hope, not holding on, hoping, wishing that it could have been any other way than it actually was. Giving up the hope that the past could be any different. And when I got that, I think it took me to the next level of being a better person, because I don't hold grudges for anything or any situation, and neither should you. It's letting go so that the past does not hold you prisoner, does not hold you hostage.
Yeah, so for me, letting go is really hard. Like, Danny will vouch for that. Like, I don't know if I feel I've upset somebody, if someone's upset me, like, it really swells, like, and it, right? Like, Danny's like, oh my god, like, why this again? Yeah, so, and I'm often like, if only I'd done that, if only this had happened, why did I say this? And it's like, wow, like, because you can't change it. Like, and it's so, like, it's painful. I mean, like, to accept that in some ways, or for me anyway, I can't change it. I can't unless I have a time machine, and then life would be a complete mess because I try and change everything. And yeah, anyway, that would be like crazy. But yeah, so for me, I guess like the words like prisoner, not being held hostage, And her was just like, that has happened. So yeah, but it's done. And anyway, for me, like my friend Katie sent that to me, we were trying to get a message across. And I think it's starting to settle in my head somehow. So yeah, so to let go, I will let go. I was quite happy with that. When people betrayed me and turned their backs, I could have exploded in indignation and resentment, saying, those reprobates should be struck by lightning. Yet when I thought about the heart of God who longs for their return, I could not do that. Each time I grasped that suffering heart of God and had the heart to forgive, a new segment, like that of a bamboo shoot, was created. And then I wanted to continue with this poem, because for me, like, as much as it's kind of very sad, like, I really relate to it a lot. I mean, of course, like, my life is not on par with True Father's life somehow, but like, with a role like Harp, like, you definitely, I mean, I guess I'm sure Anna can relate to this, but as soon as you've got like some public commission, it's like you're very open to criticism and judgment, and whether it's kind of intended or not, like, obviously sometimes it's very open, but sometimes it feels quite unjust. I also have lots of parents to deal with too, and that can be another ball game, right? So, yeah, crown of glory. When I doubt people, I feel pain. When I judge people, it is unbearable. When I hate people, there is no value to my existence. Yet, if I believe, I am deceived. If I love, I am betrayed. Suffering and grieving tonight, my head in my hands, am I wrong? Yes, I am wrong. Even though we are deceived, still believe. Though we are betrayed, still forgive. Love completely even those who hate you. Wipe your tears away and welcome with a smile those who know nothing but deceit, and those who betray without regret. O Master, the pain of loving. Look at my hands. Place your hand on my chest. My heart is bursting, such agony. But when I loved those who acted against me, I bought victory. If you have done the same, I will give you the crown of glory. And I wanted to kind of invite you to read aloud this prayer that I found. I don't know if this is like too much or a bit cheesy, but I think us Brits need a bit of cheese sometimes, aside from watch everyone on Red Leicester or whatever. So those who want to, you can read with me this prayer. Dear God, please teach me to forgive myself and others. Remove the walls that keep love out, behind which I have risen. Heal my guilt and remove my anger, that I might be whole. Make gentle my spirit and strong my spirit, and show me God's love. I changed that. Anyway, but yeah, this was on a Marion Williamson website. She's really into kind of healing and letting go and things like that, and I just really thought that was a nice way to end. And then lastly, a quote that I find quite empowering and kind of faithful story. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my rock, in whom I take refuge, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. And I don't think I have anything else to share.